The Louisiana Department of Child and Family Services says it is investigating allegations the state ignored repeated reports of the sexual abuse of a school-aged girl. The girl was allegedly trafficked for sex for more than a decade. And now civil rights attorney Ben Crump says he plans to sue the DCFS on behalf of the girl. The girl is now 16 years old and known only as KM. The suit alleges she was sold to men across the state, including here in New Orleans. J.D. Career has the story.
We're not going to have this anymore. We're not going to let these black girls suffer at the hands of these white men anymore.
Strong words from civil rights attorney Ben Crump speaking at a press conference announcing his plans to sue the Louisiana Department of Child and Family Services. Crump says the case involves a 16-year-old girl only known by the name KM. He alleges she was sex trafficked in both Livingston and Orleans Parish, as well as other places throughout the country from the age of 6 to 13 years old.
At best, it was gross negligence. At worst, it was willful neglect. And the question is why?
Crump alleges DCFS knew about the abuse, but stood by and did nothing. LaToya Porter runs the center where KM was taken for safety. She says nearly a dozen claims to DCFS went unanswered.
It just was frustrating and kind of weird that every report just went nowhere, that no one was interested in listening, hearing, even law enforcement. Like it was strange. It was very odd.
Porter, who is KM's current legal caregiver, says she received the child from Children's Hospital New Orleans due to KM's multiple suicide attempts in August of last year. Porter says it took KM months to open up to her out of fear of the people she was accusing. But once she did, the floodgates opened up. This is an audio recording of KM describing her early days of abuse.
He got my hand and he started making me touch him. And he got on top of me. And then it really started to hurt. And I said, I don't want to do this. And I started crying. He said, it's okay. Everybody.
Hey, remember, you're saved. You're saved.
He said, everybody does it. And then he raped me.
But KM was not the only child abused. In October, John Mack was arrested and charged with the rape of KM's older sister. Mack, the uncle of Louisiana State Representative Sherman Mack, was booked into the Livingston Parish Jail on first-degree rape. He is also facing charges of a misdemeanor sexual battery in Jefferson Parish. While this case is currently being handled out of Livingston Parish, Porter says KM's fight began in New Orleans. She says in her interviews with KM, she would describe in detail places where she was trafficked throughout the city.
The park by the zoo and the park with the rides. And so she describes those types of places.
For Porter, she says there's only one outcome she's willing to accept.
The people that are involved, that have hurt them, that have stood by and watched them be hurt, or used their positions to cover up the hurt, that those people be held accountable.
A long road and a seemingly uphill battle seeking for justice. J.D. Career, Eyewitness News.
In response to yesterday's press conference, DCFS released a statement saying, quote, "We welcome the attention that this case is getting, and we join in the outrage that people feel about what has happened to this young woman. As soon as I was notified about the case involving this child, I launched an internal review to examine the facts and the need to strengthen our procedures and processes."